The Roman Empire was one of the most expansive and powerful empires in history, stretching across vast territories at its peak. From the scorching sands of Egypt to the misty, chilly shores of Britain, the Romans established their dominance over much of the known world. Yet, despite their military might and insatiable hunger for conquest, there was one place they never managed to subdue: Ireland. This island, which the Romans referred to as Hibernia, remained just beyond their grasp, a land of mystery and independence at the edge of their empire. The story of why Rome never conquered Ireland is a fascinating tale of geography, strategy, and cultural resistance, intertwined with moments of near invasion, trade, and even the spread of Christianity. The Roman Empire's reach and the exception of Ireland. At its height, the Roman Empire was a colossal force, encompassing territories across Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. The Romans were masterful conquerors, known for their disciplined legions, advanced engineering, and strategic prowess. They subdued powerful civilizations, from the Gauls in modern-day France to the Greeks and Egyptians. Britain, too, fell under Roman control after Emperor Claudius launched a successful invasion in 43 CE. However, Ireland, lying just to the west of Britain, remained untouched by Roman legions. This was not for lack of interest or effort. Plans were made, alliances were formed, and whispers of invasion circulated, but they never materialized. Agricola's near invasion of Ireland. One of the most notable moments when Rome came close to invading Ireland was during the reign of Agricola, the Roman governor of Britain in the late 1st century CE. Agricola was a seasoned military commander who had spent years campaigning in the wild, misty lands of Caledonia, modern-day Scotland. After securing much of Britain, Agricola turned his attention to Ireland. He believed that conquering the island would not only expand Rome's territory, but also help quell anti-Roman sentiment brewing across the Irish Sea. Agricola's interest in Ireland was further piqued when he formed an alliance with an exiled Irish king, believed to be Tuathal Techtmar. Tuathal had been driven from his throne in Ireland and sought Roman assistance to reclaim it. Agricola saw an opportunity. By helping Tuathal, Rome could establish a foothold in Ireland and use it as a base to control the region. Agricola famously claimed that Ireland could be conquered with just one legion and some auxiliary forces, confident that it would be a straightforward campaign. After all, Rome had already subdued much of the known world, from the deserts of North Africa to the forests of Germania. However, despite Agricola's enthusiasm and strategic planning, the invasion never happened. Rebellions in Caledonia and other parts of Britain demanded his attention, and by the time he had quelled these uprisings, his term as governor had ended. Agricola returned to Rome, leaving Tuathal in his dreams of reclaiming his throne in limbo. The planned invasion of Ireland dissolved into history as one of Rome's great what-if scenarios. Why Ireland remained free of Roman rule? The question remains, why did Rome, with all its military might and ambition, never conquer Ireland? The answer lies in a combination of geographical, logistical, and cultural factors. Ireland's geography and terrain. Ireland's rugged landscape posed a significant challenge to the Romans. Unlike the open fields of Gaul or the relatively flat terrain of southern Britain, Ireland was a land of rocky hills, dense forests, and treacherous bogs. These natural features made it difficult for the Roman legions, who relied on disciplined formations and open battles, to operate effectively. The Irish terrain was perfect for guerrilla warfare, allowing local warriors to launch ambushes and disappear into the wilderness before the Romans could respond. The Romans were masters of conventional warfare, but Ireland's landscape favored the defenders, who knew the land intimately and could use it to their advantage. Ireland's political fragmentation. Another factor was Ireland's political structure. Unlike Gaul or Britain, which had large, centralized kingdoms, Ireland was a patchwork of small, fiercely independent tribes, each ruled by its own chieftain. There was no single king or central authority for the Romans to defeat and subjugate. Conquering Ireland would have required the Romans to engage in countless small-scale conflicts with numerous tribes, a daunting and resource-intensive task. The Romans were used to defeating large armies in decisive battles, but Ireland's fragmented political landscape made such victories impossible. Lack of economic incentive. The Romans were practical conquerors. They didn't invade territories simply for the sake of expansion. They sought wealth, resources, and strategic advantages. Ireland, however, offered little in terms of economic incentives. While it had fertile land for livestock, it lacked the gold, silver, and other valuable resources that Rome typically sought in its conquests. The population was smaller and more scattered compared to regions like Gaul or Spain, making it less appealing as a source of slaves or tribute. To the Romans, Ireland simply wasn't worth the trouble. Roman priorities and overextension. By the time Agricola considered invading Ireland, the Roman Empire was already vast and overextended. Maintaining control over its existing territories, particularly in Britain, was a constant challenge. Rebellions, such as those in Caledonia, required significant military resources to suppress. Additionally, the empire faced internal unrest and external threats in other regions, from Germania to the Middle East. Conquering Ireland would have stretched Roman forces too thin for too little gain. The empire had bigger problems to deal with, and Ireland remained a low priority. Roman-Irish relations, trade, and cultural exchange. Although the Romans never conquered Ireland, they were far from ignorant of its existence. Trade between the two regions flourished, with Roman goods such as wine, olive oil, and jewelry making their way across the Irish Sea. In return, the Irish traded cattle hides, slaves, and other local products. Archaeological evidence, including Roman coins and pottery found in Ireland, attest to this trade network. The Irish were not isolated. They were well aware of the Roman Empire and its influence. This trade also facilitated cultural exchange. Roman ideas, fashion, and even religion began to trickle into Ireland. By the 4th century, Christianity, which had become the state religion of Rome, began to spread to Ireland through traders, slaves, and missionaries. This cultural exchange laid the groundwork for Ireland's eventual conversion to Christianity, a process that would be spearheaded by figures like St. Patrick. St. Patrick, from slave to missionary. One of the most significant figures in Irish history, St. Patrick, has a story deeply intertwined with Rome. Before becoming a saint, Patrick was a teenager in Roman Britain. Around 400 CE, an Irish raiding party attacked his village, capturing him and taking him to Ireland as a slave. For 6 years, Patrick tended sheep in the Irish countryside, isolated and desperate. During this time, he turned to his faith for solace, praying constantly and dreaming of escape. One night, Patrick claimed to hear a voice telling him to run, that a ship was waiting for him on the coast. He embarked on a perilous journey, covering over 200 miles to reach the sea. After convincing a reluctant crew to take him aboard, Patrick made it back to Britain, escaping his captors. However, he felt a calling to return to Ireland, not as a slave, but as a missionary. Patrick became one of the most influential figures in Irish history, bringing Christianity to the island that had once enslaved him. Today, Ireland is predominantly Catholic, a legacy of Patrick's missionary work and the cultural exchange between Rome and Ireland. Impossible. Lack of Tuathal Tectmar and Niall of the Nine Hostages. Irish kings with Roman ties. Two other notable figures in Irish history, Tuathal Tectmar and Niall of the Nine Hostages, also had intriguing connections to Rome. Tuathal, the exiled prince who sought Roman support to reclaim his throne, grew up in Roman Britain after his father was overthrown in Ireland. His alliance with Agricola highlights the complex relationship between the Irish and the Romans, as both sides sought to use each other for their own ends. Niall of the Nine Hostages, on the other hand, was a fearsome Irish king known for his raids on Roman Britain. His exploits were the stuff of legend, and some accounts even suggest that his men captured St. Patrick during one of these raids. Niall's story underscores the interconnectedness of the two regions, even in the absence of direct Roman rule. The legacy of Rome and Ireland. Though the Romans never conquered Ireland, their influence is undeniable. Trade brought Roman goods and ideas to the island, while the spread of Christianity transformed Irish society. The stories of Agricola, Tuathal, Niall, and St. Patrick illustrate the complex and multifaceted relationship between Rome and Ireland, a relationship marked by missed opportunities, cultural exchange, and enduring legacies. In the end, Ireland remained a land of independence and resilience, a testament to the strength of its people and the challenges posed by its geography. The Romans, for all their power and ambition, found Ireland to be a step too far. Yet, in their failure to conquer the island, they left behind a legacy of trade, culture, and religion that continues to shape Ireland to this day. The story of Rome and Ireland is one of what might have been, but also of what was, a tale of two worlds colliding and coexisting at the edge of the known world.